Hello all CA member. This time Vasai branch is coming up with short videos on the bank audit where the experienced auditor and experienced banker will share the insight into bank audit. CA Sanjeev Maheshwari sir, past chairman of WRC, CA Giriraj Soni sir, CA Pankaj Tiwari sir will share the technical topics like NPA and IRAC norms, etc. So, let's watch this video in the upcoming season of bank audit with our bank audit reference.
Hi guys, this topic what we are going to discuss today is a short video on IRAC norm. IRAC norm is mainly related to asset classification and provisioning as regards to all the public and private sector banks. Let me start with a brief introduction of this topic. This topic relates to both identification, classification and provisioning related to a non-performing asset in the banks. If you look at the RBI guidelines, there is a mastered circular issued by RBI on the IRAC norms, which is dated 2nd April 2024, which will be relevant for all of you for this financial year when you are auditing for 24-25. Per se, there is no change in the master circular issued by RBI in 2024 as compared to the circular which is issued in the past. So, in sum and substance, I can tell you that there is no change in the IRAC norm in the current year. However, there is one circular which was introduced by the RBI in the previous year, which was on one-time settlement cases, which is relevant and applicable for the current year as well. So, this is a one important circular which all of you should be aware about it. Another circular which is relevant for the current year is a circular on the gold loan, which also has a potential impact on my asset classification. Now, coming to the audit process or audit points which one should be aware about in the IRAC norm. One of the important aspect is on identification of an NPA account. Now, from 2021, all the systems in all the banks for identification of an NPA is an automated system. However, still there are some manual interventions which are there in particular bank. As an auditor, I should be focusing upon the accounts which are not got classified as an NPA. Now, how do you identify it? There are three important points which one should keep in mind with respect to identification of an account as an NPA. One is that you should look at the cash credit account very carefully. Cash credit account are the accounts which have kind of issues with respect to their servicing aspect or with respect to their performance aspect. So, you should, when you are looking at the cash credit account, you should look at the quality of credit which has come in those cash credit account to ensure that the correct classification of account as per the IRAC norm. The second is also there are some accounts which need to be classified as an NPA considering the logic of co-borrower. Now, let me explain what the co-borrower mean. Co-borrower means that if there is two people who have taken a joint loan, let's say husband and wife has taken a joint loan of a home loan, and if this home loan account get classified as an NPA, all the accounts of the husband and wife should get classified as NPA. This is one of the important point which each one of us should be aware about when we are doing the audit of a bank branches, because in many banks still the classification is not done basis the co-borrower logic. Another important point to look at is that if there are any account which have not got classified as an NPA due to renewal or non-submission of the stock statements. Now, this is mainly with respect to identification of account as an NPA. As I said, 2 points: look at the quality of credit in the account and look at the co-borrower logic, which is not happening in many of the banks. Now, when it comes to the provision aspect, my friend, as you know, this provision is also an automated process in many of the banks. However, some points to look at it: whenever you are looking at the value of the security, look at that whether the value of the security is correctly reflected in the NPA system. You know, the value of the loan should be the realizable value as on the current date and not at the time when the loan was sanctioned or loan were disbursed, whether it's a housing loan, whether it's a vehicle loan, whether it's a corporate loan, so on and so forth. One of the point which one should look at it when it looks from the provisioning aspect is that in case of housing loans or in case of loans where you have taken the possession of the property or possession of the security, you should also look at it whether that security is realizable as of today and whether the security is marketable and whether the bank is able to collect the money from the customer. One of the another important point when it comes to on the interest reversal aspect, my friend, you should also look at in cash credit account whether the interest reversal has been happening correctly. Many banks have a practice where if the interest charge is within the drawing power limit, the banks are not reversing the interest in their profit and loss account, which is not as per the IRAC norm. What the IRAC norm says that the interest income should be realized from the customer, and the interest recovery from the unutilized limit of the CCOD account should not be considered as a realizable amount and should be reversed in the system. And when it comes to the other important aspect of the NPA recognition or NPA provisioning, one should be also careful about the accounts, correct classification of the account which were identified in the previous year vis-a-vis the classification of the account in the current year. So, one should also compare the NPA position of the accounts in the previous year as well as the NPA position of the accounts in the current year. So, these are the some of the important aspect one should be aware about it with respect to the asset classification and the recognition aspect. This is one of the important area, and there could be multiple MOCs which are coming up from that area. So, you need to pay a lot of attention. So, just to summarize my friend, you should from identification perspective, as I told you before, you should look at the quality of credit in the CCOD account. You should also look at the co-borrower logic in identifying the NPA account. From the provisioning aspect, we spoke on the correct value of the security, realizable value of the security should be considered while making a provision as compared to the market value of the security. When it comes to the income part, you should see that whether the correct income has been reversed in the system. The interest income which is serviced through the CCOD facility should not be considered as a realized. Sometimes the bank don't reverse the income which pertains to the previous period, saying that the accounts for those particular year has been already closed. However, you should insist on reversing those interest income even if it pertains to earlier period if it is not realized in the system. So, these are some of the key points, my friend, which I thought you should be aware about from the IRAC norm perspective, and all the best to all of you for doing the audit in the current financial year. Thank you.